Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
All right, let me tell you something that's going to absolutely blow your mind when you actually sit down and think about it. We are sitting here in January 2026, and the Philadelphia Phillies, this team that everyone keeps telling us is a championship contender, this roster that's supposedly built to win right now, they have exactly one legitimate power threat in their entire lineup. One, Kyle Schwarber. That's it. That's the list. And we're supposed to compete with the Dodgers and the Braves and the Mets, who have multiple guys who can change a game with one swing. That's insane. That's organizational malpractice, and there's a solution sitting right there in free agency that nobody wants to talk about because it would require admitting we made a mistake with Alec Boehm. Eugenio Suarez just hit 49 home runs last season. 49. Let that sink in for a second. He drove in 118 runs. He's a proven playoff performer who showed up big in the ALCS. He plays third base, which happens to be our biggest defensive weakness. And he's available right now probably for something like 15 to 18 million per year on a 2 or 3 year deal. This is a no-brainer. This is the kind of move that championship organizations make when they see an opportunity to upgrade a position. But we're not going to do it because we're too attached to Alec Boehm, who can't play defense and disappears in October. Let me break down why Suarez makes so much sense that it's actually painful we're not pursuing him aggressively. First and foremost, we need power, desperately. Look at our lineup from last season. Schwarber hit his home runs but struck out constantly. Harper's power numbers are declining. Castellanos hits for some pop, but it's inconsistent. Realmuto's aging. Turner's not a power guy. Marsh definitely isn't. Boehm sure as hell isn't. We have one guy who pitchers actually fear in terms of leaving the ballpark, and that's Schwarber. That's not enough. That's nowhere near enough when you're trying to win in October against elite pitching. Suarez gives you legitimate right-handed power, which is something this organization has been desperately seeking for years. We're so left-handed heavy that any team with a good lefty starter completely neutralizes half our lineup. Suarez changes that dynamic immediately. He's a right-handed bat who can hit 35 to 40 home runs in Citizens Bank Park, maybe more given how hitter-friendly our stadium is. Imagine having him hitting behind Harper or in front of Schwarber. Suddenly pitchers can't just pitch around our one power threat. Suddenly we have actual lineup depth that forces opposing pitchers to make mistakes. The 118 RBIs he drove in last year aren't a fluke. This guy has been a run producer his entire career. His career average is 32 home runs per 162 games. He's hit 30 or more home runs multiple times. He knows how to drive in runs. And here's the thing that people don't appreciate enough. RBIs in big moments, clutch hits when the game's on the line, that's what wins championships. Suarez has proven he can do that. He hit 308 in the playoffs last year with 2 home runs against Toronto. That's the kind of production we desperately needed in our NLDS losses and didn't get from guys like Boehm, who completely disappeared. Now let's talk about the defensive side, because this is where it gets really interesting and where people are going to push back. Suarez is not an elite defensive third baseman at this point in his career. He's average at best, maybe slightly below average depending on which metrics you trust. But you know what? That's still better than Alec Boehm. Boehm is actively bad defensively. He costs us runs. He boots routine plays. He makes errors in crucial moments. Suarez might not be Gold Glove caliber anymore, but he's competent. He makes the routine plays. He doesn't kill you. And when you're talking about upgrading from Boehm to Suarez, even a lateral defensive move is acceptable when you're gaining 40-plus home run power. The age factor is something people are going to bring up. And yeah, Suarez is 34 years old, but we're not talking about signing him to a 7-year deal here. This is a 2, maybe 3-year commitment max. We're in win now mode. Our window is right now. Harper's 32, Turner's 31, Realmuto's 33, Wheeler's 34. This isn't a young team building for the future. This is a team that needs to win in the next 2 years, or this entire expensive core is going to age out without a championship. Suarez at 34 on a short-term deal is exactly the kind of player you target when you're going all in. The contract projection of around $15 million per year is completely reasonable and actually a bargain for what he provides. Think about what we're paying other guys. Castellanos is making $20 million, and he's a defensive liability who provides inconsistent offense. Bohm's going to get expensive through arbitration. We're paying huge money to multiple players who don't impact winning nearly as much as a 49 home run guy would. $15 million for Suarez is efficient spending. It's getting maximum value for your dollar. And on a 2 or 3 year deal, if it doesn't work out, you're not handcuffed long term. It's a calculated risk with massive upside. The Citizens Bank Park factor cannot be overstated. This is one of the most hitter-friendly parks in baseball, especially for power. Suarez hit 49 home runs last year, splitting time between Arizona and Seattle, neither of which are particularly friendly to right-handed power. Now imagine him getting half his at-bats in Philly where balls fly out. He could legitimately hit 50-plus home runs. He could drive in 130 or more. That kind of production from the third base position would be transformational for this lineup. It would change how teams pitch to us entirely. Here's the part that's going to make Phillies fans uncomfortable but needs to be said. The only way this works is if we trade Alec Bohm. You can't carry both. You can't pay Suarez $15 million to be a bench player. And you definitely can't move Bohm to another position because his defense is already questionable at third base. It'd be a disaster anywhere else. So trading Bohm becomes necessary. And you know what? That's fine. That's actually good. Bohm has never proven he can perform when it matters. His defense costs us games. His attitude when he's struggling is problematic. Moving him for whatever we can get and upgrading to Suarez makes us significantly better. The timeline is the critical issue here. Suarez isn't going to wait around forever. Other teams are interested. He's going to sign somewhere relatively soon. If we want to make this happen, we need to move Bohm immediately and pivot to Suarez. But that requires decisiveness from Dombrowski, and based on his track record, he's more likely to overthink this and miss the opportunity. We'll sit around debating whether to trade Bohm for 3 more weeks. Suarez will sign with someone else, and we'll be stuck with the same flawed roster, wondering why we can't score runs in October. The impact on the clubhouse would actually be positive despite what people might think. You know, veterans who produce in big moments command respect. You know, Suarez has been there, done that. He's been an all-star. He's performed in playoffs. He'd bring a professional approach and legitimate threat that would make everyone else's jobs easier. Compare that to Bohm, who sulks when things aren't going well and whose body language on the field is often terrible. Addition by subtraction, while also adding significant upgrade in production. The right-handed power element really can't be emphasized enough. The Phillies have been desperate for this for years. We keep talking about needing it, but never actually acquiring it. Suarez is sitting right there offering exactly what we need. 49 home runs from the right side, 118 RBIs. That's not projecting or hoping someone develops into that. That's getting a guy who literally just did it last season. You want right-handed power? Go get the guy who just led the league in home runs from the right side. It's that simple. The financial flexibility to make this happen exists if we're creative. Trading Bohm clears his arbitration salary. We saved money moving Matt Strom. If we really wanted to, we could dump some of Castellanos' contract by eating part of it in a trade. There are ways to free up the 15 to 18 million needed for Suarez. It's not like we're broke. Middleton has shown willingness to spend. This is a relatively modest investment compared to some of the contracts we've handed out. The question is whether we have the creativity and willingness to make the necessary moves to create the space. The alternative is running it back with Bohm at third base, watching him boot grounders in big moments, watching him go 0 for October at the plate, watching our offense struggle to score against good pitching because we don't have enough power threats. That's the path we're currently on. That's what happens if we don't make a move like signing Suarez. And then next winter, we'll be sitting here saying the same things about how we needed more power and better defense at third base, except Suarez will be on another team hitting 40 home runs and we'll have wasted another year. The playoff implications are what really matter here. Regular season stats are nice, but championships are won in October. Suarez hit over 300 in the playoffs last year with power. He's proven he doesn't shrink in big moments. Compare that to Bohm, who's been invisible or worse in our playoff failures. If you're building a roster to win in October, you want guys who have shown they can handle that pressure. Suarez has, Bohm hasn't. Pretty simple calculation when you break it down that way. Look, I know change is scary. I know fans are attached to Bohm because he's a homegrown player and he had that all-star season. But attachment doesn't win championships. Making hard decisions wins championships. recognizing when you have an opportunity to significantly upgrade wins championships. Eugenio Suarez represents that opportunity. He's the power bat we desperately need. He's better defensively than what we have. He's proven in big moments. He's available at a reasonable price on a short-term deal. Every logical analysis says we should be all over this. The only thing stopping us is sentimentality and unwillingness to admit Bohm isn't the answer. And if that sentimentality costs us another year, costs us another playoff disappointment, then shame on us for not making the move when it was sitting right there in front of us.